Some longer-awaited dungeon tuning has hit, and the title of this Wowhead post is Kujo Box now requires full line of sight. So let's take a look and see what Blizzard has done with some of the tuning that they have implemented right now, live as of reading these notes. So from Blizzard, we've made updates to address the Candle King's health absorb, along with some other helpful adjustments to quality of life changes, with hotfixes that are now live on all realms. The blue post is starting off to be excellent. The quality of life changes and nerfing the Candle King's heal absorb. So the Candle King actually got their heal absorb hot fixed because it was bugged previously, but then the boss became very demonic. So I'm not shocked that Blizzard had to go ahead and nerf it. And starting off the bat, Candle King's Throw Dark Flame, heal absorb reduced by 20%. It was previously only going on 1 player at a time, and now as of this reset, it started going on to 3 players at a time, causing what you see here on the MDI leaderboards, where players are running a bunch of different healers, and you're seeing Restore Druid and Restoration Shaman being actually very popular selections for Dark Flame Cleft because of the healing output that those specializations have on a fight like Candle King. Candle King is going to end up being that bottleneck in this dungeon, especially at a high level. But now the heal absorb being reduced by 20%, I think is actually fairly positive. There were a lot of compositions that struggled to actually get through Candle King just in general, particularly those that didn't involve like a mage and a DK. Like if you were playing, I did this dungeon with an enhancement shaman, a moonkin, and a hunter with a Restore Druid healer, and let me tell you, even on a 16 that was quite tough. I did it also with like a fairly strong comp on a 17 with a disc priest healer, and even then it was kind of dangerous. So I'm not shocked that they were looking to reduce the heal absorb by 20%. Cinderbrew Meadery, hobgoblins no longer spawn brew drops on death. I wish they would also go ahead and make hobgoblins no longer spawn brew drops every single time they do the charge. The charge brew drops, in my opinion, are more obnoxious than the death ones because the tank's ability to be able to get threat on those brew drops is really obnoxious. At the same point, I'm not going to complain about them no longer spawning brew drops on death. It's fine. Yes Men health also has been reduced by 10%. This is fine. I don't really have any complaints about the Yes Men health being reduced by 10%. It's like kind of boring at the very end of the dungeon, and the fact that they have so much HP is like whatever. I don't really think that's that big of a deal. For Workshop, Rim visual added to Plasma Orb on the King Mechagon encounter. Oh, so I think that there's probably something whenever he's doing the laser. There's probably, or maybe the orb movement actually is probably what that actually is. There's probably like a circle around these balls now. I'd probably have to wait and see exactly what happened. A line visual added to the Mega Zap from the aerial unit on the King Mechagon encounter. So the first phase, there's going to be a line visual, probably similar to what you saw from the Hobgoblins this week, where there's going to be a line coming out of the boss on the person that's targeted with that Mega Zap. Kujo health has also been reduced by 10%. And now there's also addressed an issue where Kujo can be hit during venting flames in a certain angle. So who is this an issue for, I guess is my first question. And apparently the safe box aura is now a private aura and only applies whenever you're actually out of line of sight of the boss. And Squishy has graciously given us a clip of what this looks like. So in the past, you would be able to put Kujo on the corner of this box, and you would be able to get a safe spot on the corner. This would allow you to continue to DPS the boss through the box, basically, while you were supposed to be line of sighting. Now, you gain access to the safe spot here. And you can see how far behind the box he is on screen here. A bit unfortunate. I think that this fight is kind of boring if you're actually forced to line of sight the entire time. But I also think that the gimmick of having to have this knowledge about tanking the boss on the corner and the weird box nonsense, I'm not actually in love with that. I don't really know what the fix is. I'm okay with them nerfing his health by 10%. Not letting you hit him through the box is a bit tough. I don't really know if this is right, but it's definitely gonna be controversial. It's just tough because, like, realistically, you were probably getting more than 10% HP off of this boss because you were able to hit him. And so, like, I don't know if 10% HP realistically is going to keep Kujo on a consistent kill time of what she was on before, and now it's honestly a worse fight for pretty much everybody involved. Not being able to hit the boss through the box is tough, but also, like, the knowledge barrier of your tank needing to know that he needed to tank it like that, and your DPS and your healer getting mad at your tank for being bad or not having that knowledge that you can move him into the box is also like a tricky situation. So I don't really know how Blizzard was supposed to fix it. I don't think this mechanic is particularly good as probably the actual answer. Prior to the Sacred Flame, Ardent Paladin health has been reduced by 6%. I would also probably hit the Divine Toll healing or the Divine Toll damage by a little bit. I don't know if you necessarily have to hit it by that much, but I think if you hit it by like 10% or something like that, it makes those pulls a little bit more reasonable. I've seen pugs get pretty substantially heal checked on these pulls. In my opinion, the higher up you go, teams are going to have Bloodlust for this pull, and healers just get a little bit better. But whenever you're in like some like 12s or 10s with healers that aren't as aware, or you have people who are also missing interrupts at the exact same time that Paladins, the Divine Toll is going off, you have a lot of people dying to these pulls. I would have maybe have hit their the damage that they're doing a little bit, but I also think that the reducing of the HP is nice. I mean, these mobs are pretty demonic and they have a ton of health. The Sharpshooter's pot shot cooldown has been increased by 100%. That ability is also demonic. It's good to nerf it a little bit. The War Lynx's health has been reduced by 20. And Pounce's impact damage has been reduced by 20%. People aren't really pulling the Lynx too often. I don't think the Lynx is necessarily that bad, but I don't know if the Pounce impact damage is the reason that people aren't pulling it. Realistically, you can CC it while it's in the air, so you can actually avoid taking 100% damage if your group is skilled enough. I think that people are just avoiding pulling them because there are other mobs that actually give like a little bit more efficient count. I think this is one of those things that it's like a count efficiency thing, and it's like, it's hard to pull these with the other packs as well because the finesse that you have to that's required to actually avoid all the damage for them isn't necessarily reasonable for a lot of groups. Oh, and so Priory Smurprey's health has been reduced by 12.5%. The final boss of this dungeon actually getting the health reduction by 12.5%. That's huge. I wonder how it's going to affect the shield. I don't know if the shield is percentage based. There's also some weird stuff right now where if you kick the boss at the wrong time, there's some weird spell queuing nonsense where Prioris can do the turnaround AoE at the exact same time that the fire is going off, where you actually are taking like double massive hits of AoE. Yoda released a very good video on that and making sure that you're able to spell queue that boss properly. So you should go check that out if you're looking for that kind of thing. In my opinion, stuff that was kind of missed. You know, I would have, again, maybe nerf the Paladin, Toll HP. I think I would have maybe looked at some of the mini-boss mobs that teams are looking to skip this season. I would have probably buffed, like, Peacekeeper count, maybe, like, tripled Peacekeeper count to the point where people are playing that. There's some other mobs, maybe, like, Bubbles count could have been increased. That way people would be looking to play that. I actually like the Hobgoblin change, not dropping the Brew Droplets on death, although I would have changed it to also not drop them on charge. If you were giving me the option of, like, would I rather them drop on charge or on death? I'd rather them drop on death than on charge, but that's fine. Maybe slight count increase to like a Void Stone and Rookery because of people having to skip these. Maybe some slight count increases to some of these mini bosses in Theater of Pain and the Zavwing because, again, people are trying to skip those pretty consistently. Those are probably some of the things that I think were a little bit left off that I would have maybe have looked to hit. Just some like count increases on some of these mobs that are feeling like forced skips in this season, just so people then could change their route a little bit. But overall, I mean, I think these are great changes. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Kujo one. All right, that's it. If you guys have been looking for more content from me, come check out my Twitch stream. I've been doing a Zero to Hero series on an Elemental Shaman where we're trying to go for 3K IO. That's kind of why the uploads have been a little bit slowed down, but I promise there are some large project videos coming up soon where there's going to be a very long Zero to Hero series. So if you like that kind of content, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.